How would you feel if you discovered that the reason you click on a YouTube video wasn't actually your choice, but that YouTubers were hacking your brain in a way that forced you to click? And the reason they have to do this is because if you don't click, they could lose out on millions of dollars in ad revenue. So in this video, I'm going to reveal the astonishing tactics they use to do this, and we're going to reveal numerous instances of them employing their clickbait strategy. We'll even try to recreate Marques Brownlee's first ever YouTube thumbnail to show you what it takes to get it to their now modern day standard. But that's not all. We're then going to send our remade thumbnail with 3 of Marques Brownlee's newer ones to a group of full-time YouTubers. Finzar, a pro editor with an insane eye for detail, Leela, an incredibly talented video production expert, and Hey Dominic, YouTube's leading Instagram pro who literally teaches people how to make eye-catching images for a living. And if they guess ours is the imposter, James here has to get his ear pierced.
I don't want my ear pierced.
What would your kids think if you're on your ear piercing?
They'd be pulling on it and making the hole really big.
Okay, we definitely need to get this right then.
So for those of you who don't know who Marques is, he is a YouTube legend. He's been on the platform forever, and the lengths he goes to just to make his videos and his thumbnail images will shock you. But this level of perfectionism helps him to get billions of views and made him one of the most respected tech influencers in the world. The thing that makes YouTube so weird though is, well, it makes sense why this image would get your attention. It is beautiful. But how does this one get as many views when it's so ugly? No offense, whoever made that. Well, this is one of the first and most powerful hacks YouTubers use that force you to click, because they know thumbnails are not all about pretty design. Oh no. In fact, 80%, maybe even 90% of the power they use to get you to click is about working out what will interest you on a deeper psychological level as fast as they flipping can. And to do that, many spend hours, maybe even days, trying to find a smart way to create a particular feeling in your brain the second you see it. This feeling they obsess over is the difference between thousands or millions of views, and that feeling is intrigue. Others call it curiosity. You could even argue it's FOMO. This ugly image, therefore, is not a rush job. It's a giant psychological mind hack designed to make you feel something that makes you not just want to, but need to click to confirm something about yourself. Back at the studio, I was giving James the bad news that the Marques thumbnail we had to remake was about a remote control for a laptop.
What?
Yeah.
How can we make that one of his new ones and have it not called out as being an imposter? I mean, we don't even have the product.
That is where you were wrong, because I actually had this weird laptop and the remote, and it's in my attic. So should we go and get it? You can stay here if you want.
All right, I will.
Okay.
Good luck on your adventure.
In my attic, I fought through the dust and the spiders and came across some mysterious items before I saw the corner of the laptop sticking out and was ready to go back to the studio with its very remote. So how do top YouTubers come up with an image with so much intrigue in it, you are unable to resist clicking it? Well, it's down to a few things. First, YouTubers will spend a lot of time researching to find inspiration for their image idea. Now that inspiration, it can come from anywhere. However, they often turn to other YouTubers' thumbnails, or sometimes even film posters have elements in them that they can borrow. Even those weird ads on the bottom of blog posts are a minefield for ad revenue generating thumbnails. But when they have that inspiration, YouTubers then spend a massive amount of time brainstorming and creating multiple concepts that could help to generate that desired feeling. But this doesn't stop there though. The top YouTubers mega hack, and even channels without millions of subscribers, have these things called think tanks. So basically they hire 4 to 5 people to come up with 4 to 5 different images for each video they make, and then each member of the think tank will present their idea, and the thumbnail that gets picked can win the designer a bonus. Now that might seem like overkill, but so much time and effort goes into their videos, they cannot risk not having it click. On a much smaller scale though, even the YouTubers who are starting out or have less than 6-figure subscriber counts have realized just how important getting a click is, so they join training communities to give each other help and feedback on their images, because going it alone is almost a guaranteed recipe for failure. Then what YouTubers do is going to seem borderline insanity, but they take multiple versions of their winning concept, not just 2 or 3, but they make 20 of the same image with tiny tweaks. Now some of you might not even be able to spot the difference between the images they make. This example here from the fantastic Mike Shake used a slightly brighter or slightly darker background with slightly different words and lots of different font sizes. And then what he does is when he launches the video, he'll switch between the different images to establish which slight variation brings in more of your views. In the studio, things were looking up for James's ears as we stumbled across something that might make it harder for pro YouTubers to guess our weird remote thumbnail thingy was the imposter.
So Marques' most viewed video is about a Game Boy, and it was part of this retro tech series. What that means is we can potentially get away with this in a thumbnail and it not look like an imposter if we mix in some of the retro tech images with the thumbnails that we send to the YouTubers. Feeling better about your ears?
Yeah.
You know what they say, ear today, gone tomorrow.
You're not gonna cut them off like...
So the big question right now is, how do we make this look like one of Marcus's new thumbnails?
Whilst that's going on, I'm going to use the next powerful strategy YouTubers use that force you to click, and you can see it right now. Don't adjust your screen, that's it. This yellow block is a thumbnail that got millions and millions of views because it harnesses this trick. And so did this one from Veritasium. Now the reason these work is because the thumbnail challenges your beliefs. And when we are challenged in this way, the feeling of being potentially lied to is so strong, we are compelled to click. So this hack is to go against the grain of what viewers believe, and it is very powerful. Back in the real world, we entered our brainstorming stage to try and make the old remote look as sexy as one of Marcus's more recent images.
Can we Photoshop that out? Do we just try and take a picture of just this? Or do we work with this? I don't know, this is your job, and it's your ears at stake, so go figure that out.
Heavily inspired by our research, James set out to draw up some drafts of thumbnails like one of his French girls, whilst I generally just got in the way and in the hope he would end up having his ears pierced.
There's a rocket. If you leave your work unattended with a pen, in the UK, this is what happens.
You're nearly 40.
Despite my rocket, James drew up some amazing looking thumbnail ideas, and that meant the next step was to start producing.
One thing Marcus Brownlee has is the best kit in the world and a giant team to make these images. Now, I'm lucky enough to have this guy, he's actually a photographer, professional one, and now he draws thumbnails for me for a living. But if you don't have a James or a Marcus Brownlee team, does that mean you can't make amazing thumbnails like Marcus anymore? Well, no, because there's actually another hack that YouTubers use that force you to click, that generates billions of views, and it requires them to take no photos at all.
Charisma on Command are the masters of this. They get millions of views because instead of taking photos of themselves, they use images of famous people you actually want to click on instead. I mean, this Peaky Blinders one is genius because they released it when the show was trending, so it's a double whammy of clickability. But wait a second. Is this video actually about that celebrity? And that's the thing. This one is, but a lot of the time you'll see things in YouTubers' thumbnails that the video is not 100% about, which is clickbait, right? Well, yes and no, because the top YouTubers have a simple strategy that stops you feeling betrayed once you start watching. And all they do is simply include whatever or whoever it is in the thumbnail in the opening scene of the video, and you're going to start to notice this all of the time now. You might find that thing or person never actually gets shown again. Here, Charisma on Command undoes the clickbait by including Russell Brand in the intro and then the opening section of the video, but after that, it's not about him at all. But you definitely don't feel cheated. This whole video would have been designed to get your attention first, with the most clickable person they could think of for the topic being featured in the thumbnail, and then they would have written the content based around it. So it's not clickbait. Back in the studio, James was in his element, but I was Googling the best ear-piercing studios in town, because having seen this weird remote thingy, I didn't think he stood a chance. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, how on earth could anyone compete with Marcus Brownlee? Look at all the kit they're using just to try and recreate one of his images. But the tricks I've shown you so far enable all kinds of creators to get millions of views. However, this is only half of what's going on. The second half is where this all gets turbocharged with some crazy computer trickery. So the highest contrast you'll ever get in an image is black and white. And the more contrast something has, the more likely it is that that thing will stick out. Now the top YouTubers in the world establish what the most clickable thing is to their viewer, and then they use colors and shading to ensure that that thing gets your attention fast. And of course it doesn't stop there. They'll use software like this one, they'll put their image in, and then they'll get an AI generated heat map which will model the highest point of interest for the viewers. This means they can get a really clear picture of if the thing they wanted to stick out does. In a minute I'm going to show you how they then use this to help pick a winning thumbnail, because it's flipping mind-blowing. But let's get back to the studio, where things were not going as planned.
Got some bad news, James and viewers. I know you've been enjoying the Goonies theme, but it's really hurting my nipples, this t-shirt, so I'm sadly going to have to say goodbye to the Superman t-shirt.
So it turns out taking a photo of an old laptop remote with this battered old laptop is not very easy.
That looks awful. That is not what we want.
In fact, even if the laptop wasn't smashed up, getting photos of it to look as slick as Marcus Brownlee's was a massive challenge. I mean, you'd think Marcus was just taking a simple photo, but to get anywhere close, we had to use a giant light, a rig for the camera to keep it steady, another laptop to monitor the photos and take them, and even with all this kit, it was going to be very hard to hide the broken screen. And because I didn't have much to do whilst James did all the hard work, I got bored and ended up drawing another rocket.
You drew a dick on it.
Bringing us to the next thumbnail trick YouTubers use, and I really think this one will surprise you. So we know you need intrigue, and we want to use contrast to make things pop. Can I get away with that? But there's another design hack that the top YouTubers are using, and it levels this up even more. So look at these 3 thumbnails. They all have something in common. Can you see it? Well, there might be a few things, but the answer I really wanted was this. Now, this isn't a set in stone rule, but to play it safe, when using colors, many YouTubers only tend to use 3 in their images. Like I said, not a set in stone rule, but bear with me. So what this does is keep the thumbnail super clean, and then it allows for that point of contrast to pop. Did it again. Stop doing that. In fact, you'll find a lot of the time they'll change the colors of their clothing in Photoshop to match other elements in the image to stop them taking too much attention away from the thing that they really want you to see. But this is where it goes next level. So let's take this image of Wonder Woman Michelle, who spent time being a garbage collector. Watch this. If I make her hoodie a different color, it doesn't work. The image feels dirty and less appealing. She doesn't stick out as much. But that's not it. This green of the garbage truck, that's not real either. It looks more like this in real life. In fact, there's a strong chance this photo was taken in a studio and everything else was added after. So the YouTubers are manipulating every color in their image to ensure 1, the right part sticks out first to get your attention and create intrigue. 2, the colors work together as a team, so they are often part of a color palette.
James has finished doing the production, and now it's time to Photoshop. And by now it's time to Photoshop, I mean now it's time for you to go and Photoshop it. Don't get your ear pierced, James, because we have a 0 piercing policy at Film Booth. You'll lose your job. How'd you like those steaks?
Yeah.
Still giggling? Fine, whatever.
Love losing jobs. For our first thumbnail, I had to start by removing Ed's rocket. Then I played about with the image inside of Photoshop to make it look as Marquez-like as possible. The second image was tougher as the laptop was so obviously broken, so I tried to keep things as simple as possible and ended up finding a solution that worked, hopefully, well enough to keep my ears safe.
James, you are not getting your ears pierced.
With the images ready, I moved on to harnessing the next trick YouTubers use that force you to click.
I think this is one of the most powerful steps in thumbnail creation going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into thumbsup.tv and I'm going to give it a title, and then we'll see what it looks like on the homepage, and I'm going to screenshot that, and then I'm going to drop it into my feedback community called Thumbnail University, and I'm going to wait for the legends in there to point out anything they don't like about it or any reasons they might not click, and hopefully they are all going to pick us a winner. But also, I'm going to drop this into something called Creator ML, so check this out. This is going to use AI to work out which title and thumbnail combo is more likely to get views. You know what? It's pretty crazy how accurate it is.
We had 2 clear thumbnail and title styles win the votes in the community feedback group, and what was really interesting to see was that the AI picked pretty much the same title and thumbnail as its winner too. The thing is, there was a split decision between the red and the purple design, but the AI had gone all in on the purple, so we decided that we would too. And thanks to feedback from David here when he stated that Chromebook worked better than the word laptop, and I agreed with that too, this was the imposter we landed on.
So now what I'm going to do is we're going to put our image onto a board with 3 other Marcus Brownlee thumbnails, and I'm going to send them to my YouTube buddies to see if James has to get his ear pierced or not. The question is, could you spot the imposter?
First up, we had YouTube editing superstar Finzar, who spends his life tweaking subtle details so he'd spot even the slightest mistake.
Okay, which one do you think definitely Marques made?
Bottom left, the Chromebook accessory one.
And then you definitely think that we made...
I don't know. This is the thing. Like, I think it's got to be the iPad one, actually.
You want to know which one we made?
Is it the bottom left? Did you make the bottom left one? Oh, yeah. That's so good.
1-0 to James. Next, I asked Leela, who is so good at production and all things Adobe, they literally hire her to make their promos and tutorials, so she is a true professional. But I also asked Hey Dom, king of Instagram content on YouTube. It's his job to help make images that get noticed. So getting past both of these two would be a complete miracle.
James, the results are in.
Are they now?
I've got some bad news for you. Because Leela said this.
Here's the thing, I think the one that you made is the iPad.
Do you want to
Is
know
that the
which
one?
No, we made the purple one.
The one that I thought was definitely his.
Yeah, and Dom said this.
You made the bottom right one.
Last chance to change your answer.
I'm gonna change it. I'll take the top left one.
So, do you want me to tell you which one we made?
Yes, please.
The purple one.
Oh gosh, really? I didn't expect this one because I'm like, this is so clear, this is so perfect, you know?
I've had to call the ear piercing people.
Yeah.
and let them know that we need to cancel the appointment.
That's good news then.
How you feeling?
Oh god, yeah, that's a relief. My wife will be very, very pleased about that. I mean, I was looking forward to having like a dangling crucifix.
This was supposed to be something bad. Like, what's your deepest, darkest fear?
It would have to be shaving my head. That would be the
Okay,
worst.
next time we're shaving your head.
Now you might be thinking to yourself, this is an insane amount of work to put into just one thumbnail. But the truth is, getting a click has become so competitive, YouTube is now a game of working out an image to make that people will click on, then working out what video you can fit into that. And we've not even spoken about writing or editing or filming. There's a ton more sneaky tricks YouTubers are using to hook you. So watch this video next, because you'll learn how they're editing to keep you hooked from the start to the end. How has it got to the stage where I turn up just like this and you don't even say anything?
I've seen you wear many a thing.
Didn't even flinch.